As much as we try to schedule out our day and create smooth routines, sometimes life just happens and the day doesn't go exactly the way that we planned it. But that's okay. We work around it and just do the next thing that needs to get done. Hi, my name is Megan, and this is Simply Busy Home. If you're new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button. I make new videos each week on home management, home keeping, and homemaking. Today we're going to be hanging out in my kitchen together, and I wanted to talk about how we can still be productive even when we're working with a little bit of time. I planned for 4 hours, but I only ended up with 2. I am currently 14 weeks pregnant, but I have not gotten that second trimester energy back yet. So when quiet time came around for my kids, I participated too and took a little rest. So while I had made a list of tasks that I wanted to get done today, there were certain things that needed to take precedence. I'm making a very simple meal of kielbasa and canned baked beans. And while I'm getting the kielbasa out of the package and onto the baking tray, I thought, you know what? These beans are going to take a while in the slow cooker, so I'd better get these going. That's my sourdough starter going back in the fridge. I planned on making some sourdough bread and dinner rolls, but just don't have time today. And this evening we're having prayer meeting with our church. We always have dinner together first. Tonight I signed up to help with that. I always doctor up the beans a bit with some brown sugar, ketchup, and mustard, just like Grandma used to do. So good. Then in goes the kielbasa for about 30 minutes or so on 375. While all that's cooking, I decided that I needed to go ahead and put some chicken that I had made yesterday into the freezer so that it doesn't go bad. I baked up, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 pounds of chicken. I could be totally off. It was 4 packs though. Now part of it I shredded and added some butter and barbecue sauce. Oh man, it was delicious. We made some sliders and I did a coleslaw on the side. It was very tasty. Now I'm just flattening this out so that it'll be easier to thaw out when I take it out of the freezer. The rest of it I left whole and will use in some other way next week. I don't meal prep, I do meal plan, loosely. This to me is much simpler than prepping a bunch of food ahead of time, at least in this season of life. I do plan to make some freezer meals though once we get closer to my due date. I only made a few last time and we went through them so fast, so we'll see what I can come up with. Alright, so now it's cleanup time. I like to clean each room from left to right. This is another thing I learned from the book I mentioned last week, Home Management Plain and Simple. And what I love about cleaning this way is that it's easy to see what's already been accomplished. It's both gratifying as well as motivating to keep going. Scraping these crumbs of food is certainly not something I do on a daily basis and is perfect for these days dedicated to some kitchen work. Now, the list that I had originally made when I planned on having the full 4 hours included things like cleaning out the fridge, wiping down the blinds, windows, and windowsills, wiping the walls, and mopping, as well as baking up some of the sourdough bread and rolls for the week. But this is the beauty of having a kitchen day every week. I know I'll be able to get to these things eventually because I'm dedicating a whole day, well, 4 focused hours for this space each week. The priorities that I needed to make sure I took care of today were making the dinner for tonight, putting that leftover chicken into the freezer so that I won't have to cook on Sunday after church, wiping down my counters, sweeping the floor, and wiping down my cabinets. While I was working in the kitchen, my girls were cleaning up the common areas of the dining room, living room, and entryway. They folded up a load of laundry and put their clothes away, and they helped to look after their little brother too. Taking this kielbasa out of the oven and cutting it up into pieces to put half in each of these slow cookers. And here's the finished product. A very simple, humble meal, but a very tasty one as well. And that's how I was able to be productive even with only a little bit of time in the kitchen. Now, I would like to revisit a day in the kitchen when I have the full 4 hours because I think it'll be helpful to see what all can be done in double the time and maybe have some little helpers join in on the fun. Now, next week, though, is the last week of winter, so we'll be going through my kids' clothes to prepare for spring. Click the notification bell so you don't miss it. Until then, take care.